all want to make money by doing something we love. If you could turn your hobby into your job, you'd never work a day in your life, right? Welcome to Hobby Hustle, the ultimate podcast where collecting passion and business collide. Now, here's your host, Zach Nygett.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 32 of Hobby Hustle. I'm your host, Zach Nygett. Thank you so much for taking time to spend with us. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. No matter if you've been a new member or have been here for a while, please be sure to like, subscribe, rate us, and of course, share with your friends. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to leave a comment and share any thoughts or suggestions that you have. I greatly appreciate your time and hope you enjoyed today's show. Today's guest is a lifelong collector who's taken this passion and turned it into a full-time career. Looking at opportunities within the hobby that did not require him to just buy and sell cards, he's found his niche as a content creator and an ambassador for the hobby. His focus is on helping educate collectors, being a positive influence for the younger generation, and bringing in new people to the hobby. He's become a prominent figure by spreading positivity, creating content, and has worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, including eBay, Fanatics, and Topps. You can find him at trading card shows across the country, as well on social media as Dr. Collectible. I'm honored to welcome a friend, a passionate collector, and an entrepreneur, Darryl Garner Jr., Dr. Collectible, to the show. Doc, what up, my man?
Hey, what's going on?
Another day, buddy.
Having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm thrilled to have you on. It's a privilege to have you. I know your time is, important, so I appreciate you making time, but I'm really looking forward to today. I mean, you and I have obviously gotten to know each other over the years at shows and always enjoy having conversations. So I'm sure the audience will dig this one today.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Hey, before we sort of get into it, as I mentioned, we get to connect at shows, and we were just both in Atlanta at Culture Collision, and there was just such a good vibe. Oh, you're rocking the t-shirt, man. I love it. There was such a good vibe, with the crowd. And I just had Mojo Jay on, and we talked about this, but I'm just sort of curious to get your opinion on state of the hobby for 2025.
Yeah. So the state of the hobby, I feel like it's up for grabs for anyone that wants to make it to whatever it is. I think more people now are more educated than they was years ago. We have more people, I feel like, are starting to explore this hobby that we live in. And the hobby is big, just not just sports cards, but comic books, sneakers. You got people that collect all type of stuff in this world. So for me, I think 2025 and just moving forward with the state of the hobby, I think it's good that it's starting to broaden out to more people. And not only that, getting into this younger generation and getting them into the hobby as well, regardless of whatever they're collecting.
Yeah, totally. No, I'm with you there. And, part of the show and my vision is to make it about more collectible types, so I think it's great that you bring that up because like you said, at that show, a Culture Collision, there was comic books, there was sneakers, there was, I think, a couple coins I saw, but, and I had conversations with people that collect bourbon and wine and watches and, the collectible world. I think we sort of pigeonhole ourselves as the hobby into just cards, but like you said, it's so much bigger, which is really cool. I love that. I'm definitely interested to see where that all branches out to, in the coming year. So with all my guests, I like to ask them sort of about their collecting origins. So can you take me back to the start and sort of your early memories of starting collecting?
Yeah. My early memories of me, I remember getting into video games early, Super Nintendo, you name it, I had it. And I love my game so much that sometimes I would have two of them. I would like to utilize one, collect one. That was just a big thing for me. And I started also getting into other things. Sports cards came in a little bit later for me. That was more my pops. I was particularly sports card wise would be eat my cereal in the morning. I'm not watching ESPN. I'm playing the video games. And, I look at my old my Kobe Bryant cards that I have and look at their stats. That's how I kept up even with player stats.
Yep.
So for me, that was my early addition when it came into collecting was first off getting into video games, just collecting a lot of video games. Then it was comic books and, reading comic books, learning about, your favorite superheroes, not just only looking at the animated shows, but really digging into deep on, the reading aspect. Mm-hmm. And from there, that's when, like I said, the sports card came along when my father was like, hey, you like Kobe Bryant, you like watching him a little bit. Here go a few cards. And that's where my love for sports cards started to come from. Yeah. When I noticed that my dad would have some of my favorite players or favorite sports players that I look up to. And, just seeing him being able to pass that down to me, that was my first early remembrance of collecting and getting into the hobby.
Totally. I love that. That's awesome. And I love that you mentioned the stats, because obviously some cards still have stats, but a lot of them don't. And my early memories too were I knew so much about so many guys. I was a huge NBA guy. I did some football, a little bit of baseball, but I've always been a basketball guy. I could tell you so many different stats about those players because of the cards. And I feel like that part of it's sort of getting lost now with the modern stuff.
No, that I agree. The first thing, I hear kids say is, oh man, you want to read the back of the card and make sure that it says, is it game used? I wasn't even thinking about that as a kid. Totally. I don't care if it was game used or not. I just wanted the card of my favorite player.
Oh yeah. So. Well, and I probably got you by a couple of years, but when I started collecting, there was no game used, man. It was 80s and 90s junk wax, and game used didn't come definitely until that late 90s. It finally started to show up. So that's awesome, man. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about from those early memories into where you're at today. Can you sort of tell us how your collecting journey has evolved a little bit?
Yeah, I'm way more smarter now when it comes to collecting. When I first really started jumping back into just this hobby and seeing it explode during the time that it was, my biggest problem was that I would just want to get cards. If I see that Kobe Bryant card, and at this time working 3 jobs before actually figuring out myself about the collectible, working 3 jobs and okay, maybe I can skip out on this and buy this card and look, maybe next paycheck I can handle that bill a little bit later. Maybe be later on, but I gotta grab that card. That's where I was stuck at a time. And now I'm very more conservative when it comes to collecting. I don't let the rush of my feelings dictate my movements of my pockets anymore. So
I like that.
That was my biggest problem for me. So I would say I'm more of a conservative collector, more smarter now, and knowing exactly what I want. That's what I learned about myself being back into this hobby, lately.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important too, because like you said, you've become more educated as a collector, right? And a big part about collecting is getting the knowledge and education so you can better pick and choose. Because I think all of us, whenever it is that we start, we're going to make some silly decisions because we just gravitate towards whatever looks cool, right? And then as you get into it, you sort of learn about all the little intricacies and what makes cards valuable or not, or, good long-term investments, or they don't have to be investments, right? They can just be things. I've got plenty of cards that I just like the players or the way they look, and that's cool too.
Bingo. Yeah.
Speaking about cards that look cool, congratulations, man. You have your own Topps card. That is pretty freaking cool. Can you maybe just tell us real quick about that whole experience?
It's a surreal experience to me because it's something that I've thought about, but it's not something I was pushing for. It's something I jotted in my notes. I want to give a big shout out to Aaron Abrams from Topps. He reached out to me, seeing what I was doing with kids and the hobby, and not only that, pushing the narrative of, a great narrative about the hobby. Mm-hmm. That was my biggest thing. As a kid, this is what I enjoyed, and I want to pass that down to the next generation, even if it's through content creation. Yeah. So he's seen what I was doing. The crazy thing was he reached out to me, and I didn't see his message till a month afterwards because I wasn't following him. So I'm like, yo, let me check my spam messages, figuring that out. And I'm like, whoa, okay, let me figure out these guys. I started doing my research. I'm like, wow, let me respond back. And from there, we kind of connect. We laughed it off. He felt like, what I was doing with the kids, especially with big league baseball, it's a kid's product. It's how I look at it. It's more cater for the kids, teenagers, and not only that, for adults that want to have that fun rip. And it's very affordable. So with that process, I was able to get the jersey afterwards. They mailed it to me. They was like, yeah, man, check this out. I had a copy of it. I'm like, wow, like this is really happening. I do tell a lot of people the hat. So I got a bucket hat on. Small story about that is I reached out to Tops. I reached out to Aaron and said, hey, yo, can I wear like a Tops hat? Because I like wearing hats.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, as long as it, it's right for the logo and things of that nature, feel free. I end up getting a hat stitched myself.
Okay.
And because, it's my vibe. So I want to be different. And that's where that whole notion with me wearing a hat, looking straight like this, and the card itself. So shout out to Aaron Abrams for reaching out to me, seeing the value that I had in myself as a content creator, what I was doing with the hobby, not only with the kids, and the opportunities I was taking. So that was like my journey of how it happened, really just being myself and not pushing for that to be done, but it just gradually happened my way.
Yep. I love that. And, I think it's so cool. And I didn't realize that, props to you, that hat wasn't an official Tops hat, because it looks awesome. It's dead on. So you got a good embroider wherever you got that done, Doc.
Oh yeah, man. Shout out to my guy. He also does my clothing as well. So
Nice.
Yeah, shout out to my guys, man.
Cool.
They good people.
I love that. Well, let's dive into like the business side, right? And
yeah,
a lot of people obviously know you as Dr. Collectible from, content, whether that be on social media, like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, but you haven't always been in this space, like you mentioned earlier. So could you maybe tell us a little bit about sort of how you came up, and before Dr. Collectible became your personality, what was life sort of like for you?
Life for Darryl Garner.
Yeah,
man. A kid just growing up, played sports. I played basketball. I ran track. That's something that I love to do. And then I got into cooking as well. Went to school for culinary arts. My dad is a chef, so that kind of rubbed off on me. Not only that, I got into a little bit of acting and dancing. So dancing was something that I did for years during high school. Got a chance to perform on like BET, 106 and Park.
Cool.
Got a chance to do MTV, and not only that, acting wise, when I moved to Atlanta, I wanted to pursue that career a little bit more, and I got a chance to work with BET again on a show called The Quad. Did a few episodes on there. Also worked on the set of like Black Panther. Been on a few shows on like Netflix, MTV, VH1. It's a lot of stuff I've done through the years of my 15 years being here. So that's like a little bit of my life.
Yeah.
In a short span. And from there, I got hit with a tragic situation in life. Things happen, and boom, I'm in my car during the winter trying to figure myself out. I lost everything, and at that point, that's when the whole notion of like, let me reinvent myself. I want to take a different route, collecting what makes me happy. After this situation where I lost everything, my video games actually survived, which was crazy. So yeah, this
at least you had your video games, man.
Yeah, my video. All right, so I had 2 suitcases. One had my personal items, collectibles, sports cars, things of that nature. I'm gonna bring you back a little bit, and I'm gonna make it real quick. I'm gonna bring you back. Remember I told you about my father giving me sports cars as a kid, like Kobe Bryant cars, things of that nature. After my situation, like I say, I'm living in my car for like 2 weeks in the winter, trying to figure myself out, working 3 jobs. I wanted to work as much as I can because I was cold in the car. So, man, surreal. Looking back, it clicked that collecting is what made me happy. Not only that, it got me out of my situation that I was in, being able to sell some of my childhood that hurt, because that's why I put so much about collecting. Sports cars changed my life. So when I look at it now, I give it all. And that's where Dr. Collectible kind of started. But before that, that's what I kind of went through. You're going to get dragged through the mud in life before, I'm religious as well. So I believe that, God gonna take you through the worst before He give you your best, and make sure that you're actually ready for that opportunity. So that was my journey.
Yeah.
I always did what I wanted to do in life. I always wanted to be something in life. I can remember something as a kid that I would love to share, is that I was going to a tutor, an English tutor, and she read palms. My mom would never let her read my palm. And she was like, "No, you're not reading my son's palm." Rest in peace to her. And one day, my mom allowed her to do it, and she told me and my mother, "I see your son doing something. I don't know what it is, but he's in front of a lot of people. I can't figure it out. But in his future, you need to be looking into that." I thought it was, for me, it was the dancing and being able to be on BET. But like now, I'm looking back, like maybe it is sports card. Maybe this has been my best journey in life. So leading up to that, Dr. Collectible, that's what I was going through. And that's who Darryl Garner is.
That's awesome, man. I love that. And, I think it's cool. And I appreciate you opening up and sharing some of that with us, because I think part of my goal with this podcast is obviously telling incredible people stories like yourself. But it's important that people learn and talk about the ups and the downs, right? Because as entrepreneurs and stuff, we go through so many downs. I was just talking to one of my buddies the other day, and he's like, "Oh, man, I'm just sort of grinding through it." And I'm like, the grind is what's expected. The downs are what's expected. That makes you appreciate those highs so much more, man. And so I think it's so cool that, you have come full circle and everything happens for a reason. I know you said you're religious, I have a relationship with God. I'm not as much religious, but my big belief is that everything happens for a reason. And so the fact that as a kid, you were told that, and then, you had your situation and some of the few surviving things are your collectibles. I think that was a big meant to be, Darryl.
Then life happens for a reason. Things happen, but you have to roll with the punches, play chess, and work with the hand that you got, that you're dealt with at that moment.
Yep, absolutely. I love that. Well, so okay, you sort of struggled. You went through some ups and downs. You figured out collecting's your passion. You sort of create this person as Dr. Collectible and this brand. Tell us about sort of how that started to take off. Like what were some of sort of those first big breaks for you?
Yeah. So for me, the day I knew, I was like, okay, I want to be in this hobby. Once again, my love is video games. I bought an Xbox Series X for my birthday the year before I really had got into what I'm doing now. And I'm like, okay, I'm playing a game. I'm working like 2 to 3 jobs. I'm not making the money I want, and I'm sitting here playing the game, not making money at all. That's when the adult came in me, and I'm like, yo, I'm selling this thing. I'm done with it. I paid $5.50 for it. While I was traveling through the United States, I actually caught a Walmart in Lane and was actually able to pick one up. And long story short, after I said I was done with video games, I figured out, okay, let me sell this. Sold the Xbox Series X on eBay for like $1,200. Then I was like, let me buy my first Kobe Bryant card. That's when I was like, yeah, I got $1,200 in hand. I'm working. I'm looking good. Maybe I can buy something nice. Cause I was mad that I already kind of flipped, some of my old Kobe Bryant cards. So I bought a Kobe Bryant Fab Floor Auto 2001. Wow. That card was amazing. Bought it on eBay for like it was like $800 plus tax. It's like, okay, let me go and get it graded. Let me see what this could do. Sent it to Ken Golden. Came back, PSA 10, pop 1.
Boom.
Lord. Man, I was like, okay, now we cooking with grease.
Yeah.
And it sold for $3,700. Wow. And I never got a chance to see that card again after I sent it off. It was raw. Never got a chance to see it graded. Haven't saw that card pop back up again. So somebody that owns that card, let me know. I don't mind buying it back. But yeah, that right there, the $3,700, I invested that into my business. Okay. I said, let me take my business surreal. I'm working. Let me take the full time into really learning sports cards. And then on top of that, switching up my game from the sports cards to getting into the content creation. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was like, okay, I want to make money in the hobby. I want to make revenue in the hobby, but I want to collect. I want to do that. And the way I figured it out was, okay, doing different things in the content creation that's going to help me buy the items that I want to collect and not flip. Mm-hmm. And that's how that whole steam just started to work off for me at the beginning with Dr. Collectible.
That's awesome, man. And so with that, you're focused on the content and stuff. You start traveling on your own? Are you just doing local shows? Like, sort of walk us through a little bit of sort of how this built up.
Yes, so this was the rough early start of Dr. Collect because I'm still working 3 jobs at this time. And the only thing I was doing was posting sports cards.
Okay.
And somebody told my cousin Chris, I'll never forget this. He said, yo, you got some nice cards, you're only posting them. He was like, yo, why don't you put your face out there? And something dawned on me was that every time I maybe think about going to a card show, or like when I became Dr. Collectible, people be like, hey, I'm so-and-so sports cards. And I'm like, I really don't know who you are because you never posted your face. Only see sports cards. That's when it clicked to me, okay, let me switch it up. Let me put my face out there so people can know who I am. Culture Collision, I go to the first one. I buy the doctor jacket. I'm figuring myself out. And people look at me crazy.
I actually remember seeing one of your posts with that, and I was like, who is this cat? So,
but in my head, I said, if I'm going to get anyone's attention, I didn't have the logo at that time either. So I'm like, yeah, let me wear a doctor's jacket. And that's when I started looking into like, okay, let me create this identity. I like to create content. And that's when the partnerships happen with the car shows, the car shops. But I was working them 3 jobs. Even at that time, something signified me. On my sports card, I have glasses on, shades. I used to wear a lot of shades in my early content. And I used to look sick sometimes. I used to look tired because I was working 3 jobs, and not only that, trying to go out and travel and create content on the weekend. So you don't want to look crazy on HD. And people like, why are you wearing glasses in here, man? You wearing shades? I'm like, bro, I'm tired. I'm really tired. Like, bags under my eyes. So that was them early stages, and traveling as well, coming out my own pocket. I was doing that. That's why them 3 jobs was there. They helped me, pay for flying somewhere across the country to, try to make content, because no one is going to call you unless you're not making content. So I have to figure out a way to make content and go to these shows. My first national, I watched, not my first national going to, but I watched people the year before go to a show that I wanted to go to. And I was at home working, not being able to do what I wanted to do. So that's when I took that leap of faith, and I started to like really get situations going for me content wise, and the bridge just started to build from there. But them early days was sacrificing, a weekend to relax from working, to want to go out to Greenville, somewhere in God know where, to create content for a show, because I can't make it to Chicago. I can't make it across the country. So that's where my early roots came from, creating content. That was the rough part for me, because I had to pick or choose. Do you want to continue to do this and take a leap of faith, or do you want to continue to just work for someone for the rest of your life? And there's nothing wrong with that either. But, you're working 3 jobs and you're doing nothing but just paying the bills. You're not being able to enjoy life with the hard-earned money that you work hard for. Yeah, that's when it clicked.
Yep. I love that. That's cool. So maybe you can talk to us a little bit about, obviously content creation is what has carried you, right?
Yeah.
So what's sort of your perspective on content creation in terms of what has worked for you? What sort of differentiates, your content? Maybe talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So when I told you at a time, like I wanted to figure out different ways of making revenue in the hobby. The first thing was like creating my identity, which I created the logo. I had someone create my logo. I'm gonna go ahead and say my ex-girlfriend at the time. Very, very creative individual, which she is the one that created my logo. And that's when I created my identity. I actually did a pre-sale on my clothing. All I did was put my logo on a shirt and decide to say, hey, this is up for pre-sale. That helped me not put up my own money to buy clothing. Plus, I knew exactly what to get. So not only everyone was able to buy their own clothes, but I was able to also take the earnings from making my own line of clothing that was bought early. So I didn't have to put up my own money. And these are secrets and shares. I'm saying just how I kind of started.
Totally.
So that was even in clothing. I didn't have to put my own money. The people that supported me put up their money and they got the clothing there. And I was able to put that revenue to side. Took that revenue, then got into, buying more sports cars to help flip, which got me into situations on being able to pay for travel and etc. And everything once again started clicking. But the partnerships started to really click when I started to figure out who was business like in the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Who was behind the car shops that I wanted to go to, who was behind the car shows. So the business aspect of me, that's how that kind of had been brought it out, where I'm like, okay, let me figure out different aspects and different ways on creating revenue in the hobby. And also, I take pride in this, something I said, which is you want to be part of the 5% of the hobby, or you want to express your 5%. What I mean by that, when everyone is going left, you go right. When everyone's going right, you go left. Don't be a part of the 95%. Create your own lane. Push what makes you special. Like you might have a signature, which is the beer, or so, like push that signature.
Yeah.
What makes you completely different from everyone else?
Mm-hmm.
Your brand, your logo. Take pride in that. And that was one of the biggest things for me as well, business wise, and the partnerships is like, I want to be business, like I want to be able to be in this business, but I want to be able to be completely different and not doing exactly what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. I love that. And it's paid off, obviously. You've established yourself as a major brand and an ambassador, and it's really cool. So you were talking about how you started to learn sort of the behind the scenes, and then that helped dictate, some of the content that was being created. Were you talked about card shops, you talked about card shows. Did one focus first than the other, or it was just sort of wherever you could get it? Like, maybe just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the first card shop that I went to, I was at the age of 24, 23. It's crazy. For me, St. Louis, Illinois, never got a chance to visit a card shop. We don't have a card shop in our city.
Home of Darius Miles. Shout out Darius.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So look at, it's funny you said that. But going into Atlanta, moving to Atlanta, I got to visit Dave Sports Cards.
Yeah.
Shout out to him, man. He gave me so much hospitality, gave me a chance to be myself. It's one of the first card shops where I got to chill, relax, watch TV, play games. A place where I wanted to visit, and not only that, still around, still kicking it, still doing well. And I would say the card shops is what started off with me first. I created something called the pull-up tour, where I started reaching out to card shops, telling them, hey, I create content. I got something called the pull-up tour, where I'm visiting card shops across the country and talking about their stories. I want to talk about the owner stories. I want to talk about the shops, how long you've been here, how long you've been in business. That worked out for me. And that's literally was just a thought process that I had, and it worked. The pull-up tour was about when you go to a store and it has on the door handle, pull up. So you pull up and you're in. The idea was from me watching Diners, Drive-In, and Dives guy. How he would go to these restaurants. That's me going back to loving cooking, watching Food Network all day. So I took that aspect, took them things, the creativity of that, and create the pull-up tour. And that's how I was able to start working with the card shops. They're like, okay, well, come in, talk about us, create content. Sometimes I might get paid, sometimes I don't. But the content as well, I needed to create my name. But then the money that came with it, it was just the extra icing on the cake.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then how did you branch out from that to the card shows? Like, people obviously saw you, started to take note. Again, you're building this brand, Dr. Collectible. That's unique. You've got a great personality. You're doing these card shop tours. What were sort of some of your first breaks as far as working with card shows?
Card shows, shout out to my guy, Gio. Had a business a while back which Card Shop Live. I was able to do, opportunity of doing media almost, I was saying, a case of talking about breakers and things of that nature, the platform. And shout out to Slash Strong. That's my guy. He helped me in a lot of situations coming up. And seeing him at shows and things of that nature, I'm like, okay. That's when I started hitting up my friends, my connections. Hey, I see you went to this show. Do you have any information where I can reach out? You know, this person here that I met at Culture Collision, let me reach out to them. I started going through my textbook, like, okay,
The Rolodex.
Rolodex them. Hey, I was pulling it up. Every name, whatever I can get, email, I am on it. And that's how I kind of built my name in the show circuit.
Cool.
Really being consistent. And you know, something I know we probably gonna bring up is where I had my very first big break, and it was going to the Mint Collective. That show, the Mint Collective, it what changed completely everything about me and being in this show circuit, because I put my own money up to go there.
Yeah.
Even though I had media pass, things of that nature, I put my own money to go out there because I knew the opportunity and the people that I was going to be able to see and be able to network with. This wasn't just your car show. This is a networking event as well. So for me, I took a chance on that. And that's when I was able to network with a lot of people that I only see on social media are now in this one spot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm hunting, baby. I'm hunting. I'm like a president. I'm shaking hands and kissing babies. I'm everywhere. You know, I'm trying to network. I'm trying to like make something of myself. So yeah, that's where all that came about with me in the show circuit and how I kind of popped up.
All right, I love that. That's great. And you know what's interesting? The Mint Collective. I can't tell you. I never got the opportunity to go, and I sort of kicked myself because so many of my guests talk about that event, and to exactly what you said, what an amazing event it was. Sure, the card show was cool, but for the networking opportunity, because it was much more about, you know, like a professional collecting forum than it was the card show. You know, where a lot of these other events, not that they're not great and there's not networking opportunities, but it's more of a card show, and then the networking sort of comes secondary.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool to hear. Well, speaking about, you know, sort of all this success in card shows and big breaks, it's also February. It's Black History Month, but you were the first African American media ambassador for the National. I mean, A, congratulations, what an honor. But B, can you sort of talk about what that means to you? And then sort of, you know, do you feel a responsibility as, you know, a very prominent figure in this space as an African American man?
Sorry. Looking for a choice of words, the right choice of words, because
you're good,
it's
man.
something that I've always thought about, and I never really got to say like my piece on how I wanted to say.
Well, this is a good platform for you, Doc.
Nah, thank you. I appreciate that. Shout out to Ray Schulte, that guy there.
Yep.
He seen something in me. He pulled me to the side of the Mint Collective, and you know, these influencers around me. Some of these guys I look up to. I'm like, wow, I can't believe, like, yo, this is so and so. This is so and so. And Ray came to me and said, hey, I love what you're doing. You're doing it a different way. You're moving different. I'm noticing you're not the status quo. You're trying to change it. He's like, let me give you a chance to do media at the National. You know, and it's something that's cool with me because I asked to partner with Collectible Media, which is him. If you ever know that page out there, people, that's definitely Ray putting in work out there and pushing the hobby. And I wanted to partner with Collectible Media, but he was like, no, let's do something big. And he knowing that me traveling out there to, you know, Vegas and things like that, he was like, yo, let me introduce you to some people. And Ray really just took me up under his wing. You know, it's almost like a father figure type of vibes, you know, where, you know, he really seen something in me and seen something genuine. And still to today, me and him are just like this. So shout out to Ray for giving me an opportunity. The media ambassador term, something I created in the hobby for myself on my card. I started calling myself the, you know, media ambassador of the hobby. You know, people didn't type late tone of that, but I knew it would get people talking. And Ray was like, let's make you a media ambassador of the hobby. And from there, boom. I literally after the national, I said, okay, maybe I can quit 2 jobs. Maybe I can quit 2. Maybe I can do that now.
Yeah.
And I didn't look back. So y'all, shout out to Ray, and for the Black culture.
Yeah.
For the Black culture, this is one of the rare times where I never thought, I'll put myself in the history books. For me, it's an amazing achievement because of how far my people have came along in this country. We all know I personally have dealt with racism as well. And it's how I be trying to create a name for myself. People ask me, who the hell you think you are, calling yourself the media ambassador of the high? Who do you think you are? I know who I am. I'm Dr. Collectible. That's who I think I am. So yeah, that's my piece on that, man. And being a Black individual, I am proud. I'm hoping that I'm making my race happy. I'm hoping that I am inspiring that next generation of kid. I don't care what ethnicity you are. If you're looking at this 20 years later, I want to let you know, hey kid, be what you want to be in life. Do what you want to do and achieve something great. And that's my biggest thing for me. That's the biggest thing I think I can say from that situation, coming from the Black culture and knowing that it's a win for the book of Black people. Yeah. African Americans, however you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's awesome, man. And like I said, you should be really proud of yourself, and I think you are a trailblazer. And, I think there's so many amazing people in this hobby, right? There's going to always be bad eggs anywhere you go, no matter what it is. But
true.
What makes, the hobby itself so special is that it's inclusive. It brings so many people together, and I've said this on the show before, but it's like cards are funny like this, collectibles, but cards. I'll be at a card show and I'm next to a 12-year-old kid. I'm next to a doctor. I'm next to, some woman who's running her own business through collecting or whatever it might be. And it's just cool to see the melting pot of all these different people coming together over the passion of, collecting cardboard.
Yeah, it's a passion. It's a love for it. I agree with you on every standpoint on what you just said. And I stand with you on that, brother, for real. Yeah. That's wise words.
Yep. No, that's awesome, man. Well, clearly, you've been doing great things. You've been building your audience, but obviously, we've talked about some of these bumps in the road, right? And that success doesn't just happen overnight. But Can you sort of maybe highlight, one or two specific challenges that you really remember that you had to overcome and sort of how you got through that to get to where you are today?
Yeah. First thing was ignoring hate. I finally, I think I realized throughout the years that I'm not going to make everyone happy. I'm not going to be more accessible. I can't make it's just so much. Everyone has an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has an opinion. God, on other people's lives, Yep. That's, I had to block that out. I had to block that out a lot, especially when you're on the uprising. If you think you're dealing with on a small level, just imagine someone like a James Harden or a LeBron James or a Kobe Bryant that gets the hate that they get or the love that they get. Like, it's a lot, but you have to tune that out. That's the one thing I thought about, was like, okay, tuning out the pressure and people. If you accept, you accept me. If you don't, you don't. The other bump is really going through the emotions. I've had situations where, I paid for a card, didn't get the card. I've had stuff get lost in packaging. I had, a Tom Brady patch from his first Pro Bowl, sent it off to FedEx and never came back. Never went off to where it's supposed to go to. I'm not saying it's FedEx fault, sorry, but I'm just saying that you're going to deal with so much in this hobby, and it's really up to you to take the ins out, learn from it. And that's where all my bumps and bruises came from. And that's why I think I'm more connected on what I want, how I want it, what I want to collect, and being more real with myself and noticing that, okay, you just lost this $300, $400 card in the mail. Take it as a loss. That is what it is, but don't hate the hobby for it. Don't hate the next person that's talking about, being happy in this space. Don't tear that next person down. Because of my bad experience, I didn't decide to tear down the hobby. but I am going to utilize my voice to help, someone that could be going through that, to make them feel like, okay, it is a better day in the hobby. It is, at the end of the day, what you're going through, this is a great space.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of my bumps and bruises. So what I've been through, man, and just like everyone else, if you didn't been through the lows and through the highs, trust me, I've probably been through the same thing. And the next person that's been in this thing longer than me has probably been dealing with it more.
Yeah. Well, I think it's cool that, like you said, you've gone through these things, right? You've learned from them. Unfortunately, bad things happen, but you've risen above them. And I think what separates you, maybe from some of the others is that you always take a really positive spin. I know there's a lot of drama and, like you said, a lot of comments and a lot of hate. But you're always on the positive side of that, whether that's through promoting card shops, card shows, whether that's connecting with the youth, and trying to provide them opportunities. I know you were part of the awesome, kids event that was going on at Culture Collision. That was so cool to see.
Thank you.
But I just think, big props to you for continuing to shed the positive light and staying in the positive lens and not, letting it get dragged through the mud. Cause that's honestly, it's easy. Right. And so for you not to do that, that's awesome, Darryl.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. The words of encouragement, serious.
Yeah, man. Well, so let's stay on the positive aspect of this, right?
Yes, sir.
You've been through a lot and you've experienced a lot, but I'd love for you to take a minute to just sort of reflect and tell us what is your favorite aspect of this journey so far?
The people.
Yeah.
The learning, the development of character of myself, learning more about myself through different ethnicities, being able to travel. It's a blessing to travel. I'm gonna be honest with you. It is a blessing to be able to do what I'm doing. And only one place that I've been to was in Orlando, and that was like in the 7th grade, in New York to go to 106 Park in high school. Other than that, I maybe been to Memphis here and there, but I wasn't taking flights, things of that nature. I've traveled so much and being able to learn so much about myself through the likes of so many different people. I think it's a blessing to be able to get out your comfort zone and learn more about yourself through different cultures. You're going to start liking, figuring out things that you really like, what you don't like. And I think being out that comfort zone, which I think if I was in comfort zone all the time, I don't think Dr. Collectible would have been possible. So in that aspect, you really have to get out your element. And that would probably be like my best say so.
Yeah.
On just that, just really get uncomfortable and like be yourself at all times.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool. And like you said, what's the coolest part about it is that you're able to experience this through your passion, through something you love doing, right? Like, it's not work then. I mean, obviously it's a grind, right? Travel is a grind and going to shows, we sort of understand that, and that comes with the territory. But to have your passion allow you to experience these new things and bring you so much joy, you can't beat that, man. Like, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, meeting individuals like you are a character. You, like, for me, you keep people engaged content wise. I love what you did with Jess recently.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Like,
she's great, dude. Good people sell themselves, Darryl. I just sit back and let you guys talk.
Nah, man, you see, that's the thing. Even though maybe getting an individual like me or Jess or whoever, you created the platform in order for us to be on here. If you didn't sit there and think about, hey, this is what I wanted to do, put in the hard work, whether if it's, creating your brand, buying that microphone, buying that camera that you need. I love your display in the background. Like, that's just not overnight. It took some critical thinking. It took some days where you like, yo, should I be doing this? And now look how many episodes you're in. And to be on this platform, yo, I'm giving you your kudos on your platform, because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to be here on this. Like, it took your creativity. You feel me?
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate those words. That's nice of you. But like I said, man, I just, I was in the background of this hobby for multiple years professionally, right? When I was able to work with Jeff and the team over at Sports Card Investor. And I enjoyed that, very much. And I was a collector for many years before that. But, like what we've talked about and like what you said, it's the people, right? And the whole reason I started Hobby Hustle was because there's so many amazing people and so many amazing stories. And I think that people hear about collecting and they think baseball cards, right? People know baseball cards, but they don't realize that not only is it comics and coins and booze and, video games and whatever else, but there's so many different facets to it, right? It's not just selling that item. It's digital platforms that help you track a collection. It's guys like yourself that have a career out of content creation. It's people that are building, auction houses, and there's just so much to it. And it's just really fascinating to me as a business person, as an entrepreneur, to learn about all your guys' stories. So I appreciate the kind words, but I'm just honored to be able to have, you on here with me.
Nah, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. This dope what you're doing, bro.
Thanks. Well, so speaking about cool things, let's look towards the next 24 months for you. Like, what's sort of coming up that you're excited about?
Woo. This should be a great year. This is the year of the businessman and woman. This is the year of the content creator turning businessman, businesswoman. That's where I feel like where I can see not only myself, but even more people for the hobby creating their own platforms now. Not just only, working for a business, but also, trying to find their own business while learning from a business that they could be working at. Like, I think these next months for me is about that. It's about the business, and I want to create more growth for myself. So I got some ideas this year that I'm excited about that I even have for myself. Collect Crunch, which is a cereal brand.
Heck yeah, dude. I think that is so cool, Doc. You and I got to chat about it a little bit. Like, no one's done that before, man. That is awesome.
Thank you. That goes back to, why I think about, that 5% of what makes you special, triggering on that 5%. As a kid, eating cereal, looking at my sports cards, looking at them stats, knowing what Kobe Bryant did at that year, and being able to enjoy that is bringing me back as a kid. So I want to bring kids that adults. And this product, it'll be one certain. So not only you will be able to, enjoy with some cereal, not cereal, but, a glass of milk, things that nature, but you can eat it on the go. And it's also come with a free collectible. Each box will come with a free collectible for each kid, each adult. It's like, your modern day Cracker Jack box or something of that nature. Awesome. That's the feelings I'm trying to, bring. So I will have collectibles inside. More of that information will be coming on what them collectibles could be, a possible one-on-one. So yeah, I'm excited about this, and it's going to be affordable to the people as well. It's going to be affordable. I'm trying to get it into as well. Walmart, Family Dollar, but I believe Dollar General is now bought up by Family Dollar. So Dollar General and Dollar Tree. So I want to make sure that this is available for everyone, not only in stores but also online. And I want to make the best out of this. I put some thought process into it. It's something that I love. I got other things I have going on as well as new partnerships, business deals that I've been making. Last year and going into this year, I've been looking into more businesses as well. So I own a few businesses. I'll have part ownership in a few businesses that I'm looking to see bloom this year as well. So that's my other aspect of me, just seeing the growth of myself and taking chances on businesses that, I already promote, but want to be a part of now. Wanting to be a part of that success. So that, not only that, the car shops, the car shows, something small details. I have some guys in Florida that's even looking to open up a car shop, a Dr. Collectible car shop.
Cool.
I have my name trademarked, so I own the rights to it, the branding and everything. So, that's one aspect as well that I'm looking to help elevate myself. So yes, this year it's about the content creator turning businessman. whether if you are a man and woman. And that's just my biggest thing I would like to share for the next upcoming months on just working with shows. Shout out to the National, shout out to Fanatics Fest, being media for them and doing my thing. Like, it's just seeing the hard work that I put in and seeing excellence come from it through business.
Yeah. I love that, man. And congrats. I mean, like you said, you're thinking outside the box. You're attacking this differently. I mean, to create your own cereal first is an incredible idea, right? Like, I'm like you. I grew up as a cereal freak. I'd sit there and read cards or read my comics or whatever it was, and like cereal was such a big part of that. And the fact that a lot of the old school cereal, I don't know if it does anymore because I don't buy it as much, but like it used to always come with a prize or something, so the fact that you got the collectible with your collectible crunch. But I think the coolest part about this is that you're doing this on your own. When we caught up, you were telling me about how much you're learning, right? Like, you're going through package design, you're going through food production. Like, this isn't like someone just came to you and said, "Hey doc, like, let me slap your name on this." Like, this is you. And I give you huge props for diving into that world because it's challenging. I've had clients in that space and it's not easy. So I'm just so stoked for you. And I can't wait to see that become a reality, hopefully later this year.
Thank you. I'm excited. Can't wait. And I think it's going to be a great situation. Not only that, but I want to make my family proud. I want to be able to pass. I don't have kids. One day when I have a kid, I want to be able to pass something down.
Yeah.
I want to, even if he doesn't like it, this might be able to pay a college tuition. I don't know, but
if you don't shoot your shot, man, you never know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I couldn't say it any better. Like, if you don't shoot your shot now, you will never know. And I would rather sleep at night knowing that I did everything that I could in my power to be able to be the best version of myself.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a heck of a job, man. So props to you.
Thank you, brother.
So, hey, I want to be respectful of your time. This has been an awesome conversation. But before I let you go, I ask all of my guests if you could sort of give one piece of advice to an aspiring content creator or entrepreneur, what would you tell them?
Yes. Consistency. That's key. Don't stop. Something I heard, I think J. Cole say, if you knew that when you stopped at your 7th try and you actually could have changed your life on that 10th try, would you have stopped? That's the mindset that I would want content creators to be on. Be yourself, be genuine. Don't do people wrong. Please don't do people wrong. It comes back to hunt you. What's in the dark will come to light. I pride myself on doing business the right way. I take pride on making sure that when kids look at me, they have something to look up to. They're inspired. Adults as well. I want, I even learn much from kids. So for me, and coming from the heart, content creator, be yourself and be consistent and ignore every negativity that comes your way, because everyone is not going to completely like what you're trying to bring to the table. But there's a but. You can either be like me and become who is Dr. Collectible to that's Dr. Collectible, or you could just forget about your dreams and just move on to something else in life, and try to make the best out of that. That's the best thing I can say. Like, content creators, fight for your dreams, fight for your content, fight for what you're doing, but be realistic, be 100, and just be real with it and give the people what they want, which is you, because they're watching for you in sports cars, but truly for you and what your aspect of what you can bring. So that's my best advice.
I think it's awesome advice, Darryl. I think, like you said, hard work, being yourself, being authentic, right? And staying consistent. And I think that's a big thing where a lot of people might, like you said, fail. Like the J. Cole thing you said, like they try the 7th time, they don't see it, and they're like, well, I tried 7 times, I'm good, but it's the 10th time that gets them that bump. And that's, that's something you got to push through. And I think that's not just obviously in content creation, that's in anything in life, right? Being an entrepreneur, trying to create something different, trying to create something from the ground up. It is hard work. And like we talked about earlier in this episode, you're going to get your butt kicked a lot of days, and that's okay. Yes. You got to just pick yourself up, dust it off, and keep moving, because eventually you will get there, man. So you've done a great job of it, man. And like I said, I always enjoy talking to you, Darryl, and it's just always such a pleasure, man. So, before I let you go though, shameless plug, because people are, some are watching and I've been putting up a banner, but those who are listening, you want to tell them where they can find you?
Yes. Dr. Collectible, majority on all social medias. Also,
it's spelled out doctor, right? Not DR.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to make sure people know. Yep.
Yeah, so it's completely spelled out, Dr. Collectible. I'm on all social medias. There's only one social media where it's Doc Collectibles, and that's X, Twitter. Yeah. However you want to call it. I'm fighting for that name. It's been a couple of years, but they're not giving it to me. But everywhere else, Dr. Collectible, YouTube, TikTok, even though we don't know where that's going to probably go over the next 90 days. So, yeah, you can find me there until you can't probably find me there no more.
Awesome. Well, if they don't catch you online, I'm sure they'll catch you at a show soon. Will you be at the West Coast Card Show?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
man.
All right, I can give you a little details on my schedule coming up.
All right.
I recently did the flip. I've been working with Charlie's Collectible Show. I'm excited about them and what they're doing in Atlanta. Also, it's a lot. Atlanta, Canada, Super Collectibles, what they're doing. Sports Car Expo Canada. I've been working with a lot in Canada. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in the mix of all that's going on within these next 2 months of them shows. I have been talking to Rizzo Sports and just talking to them about trying to get out there and actually do some great content. I love that show. I've been to the Anaheim and Ontario. Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. Anaheim and Ontario. Yes, 2 locations where I've seen the show. So for me, I think it would be good to come back. I think I missed the last show, but I went to the show before that. So Cool. It's a long time coming. I'm looking to meet with some people. So yeah, that's one of the shows I'm looking to be at.
Awesome, man. Well, I will be there, so I'm excited to see you, and I hope you stop by, man. We've got a suite I'm putting together. It's called Artistry or After Hours Artistry, wow. And it'll be 16 plus artists Friday night, free event. So come by, dude. I want to see you there. Expose you to some new artists. Hey. Maybe you don't know. Maybe we could shoot some content, Doc.
I'm down for that, man. Look, you heard it here. I might just go and put. Actually, I got to put. If I'm out there, I'm pulling up. How about that?
I love it, man. Well, Darryl, this has been an awesome conversation. You are truly an inspiration. And I just appreciate your time, coming on, talking to us about the ups and the downs. I think people can learn so much from you. And I'm looking forward to big things this year from you. And just thank you for taking time to come on the show.
Oh, thank you. I hope nothing but success for your show. I hope in 2025 has nothing but greatness for you. And thank you for letting me be a guest on exceptional podcast, my brother.
I appreciate you, Doc. I will catch you soon, man. Be well.
Thank you.
All right. Everyone out there watching, thank you for your time. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you found some inspiration, and I hope that you enjoyed the show. If you did, please be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and of course, share with your friends. And remember, keep collecting, keep hustling, and we'll see you next week on Hobby Hustle, where collecting passion and business collide. Thanks so much.
Hobby Hustle is brought to you by Collector Creative. If you're a collectible brand or company looking for help with marketing, branding, design, or development, head over to collectorcreative.com and drop Zach a line. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, connect with us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at collector_creative. And be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time on Hobby Hustle, where collecting passion and business collide.